Welcome to the bold analysis. Sometimes when you hear politicians like Arun Cheriot speaking about incitement, you'll even think they just arrived in the country the other day, or that they have just dropped from another planet and playing saint, while really that is not it. A viciously looking Cheriot is lecturing Rigathi Gachagua about the Sunday statement on Ruto writes speeches for him.
I want to call for the disbandment of NCIC. They have outlived their usefulness. Hizi cheche za matusi na maneno ambayo inaendelea, watu wanaambiana kabila hii kabila hile, it will not be going on if we had a functional NCIC. Well, Reverend Kobia, together with your team, I think it is time you pack up your bags and go. You have outlived your usefulness. Huna maana kabisa. Kama zamani ulikuwa unajua kuambia watu ati hatupangwingwi ni kitu mbaya, siku hizi ulienda wapi? Fuata hii mikutano ambayo inafanyika huku siku hizi, wanasiasa wanarushiana maneno ya kikabila na matusi, nyinyi mmenyamaza tu na mko kwa ofisi, mnakula pesa nononono. Ama nyinyi pia ni wakabila kama huyo ambaye tulifukuza. Tafadhalini ondokeni kwa hizo ofisi ili tupate Wakenya ambao wanajua kushikanisha Wakenya wenzao na kuhakikisha kwamba kuna uwiano katika taifa letu la Kenya. Siku hizi mtu anazungumza anatusiana. Jana nimeona kanisa pale walikuwa ile maneno yanazungumzwa, hata nyinyi kanisa bana mtusaidie, because I have never seen a time such as now ambapo watu wanaenda kwa kanisa lakini ile matusi inatolewa kwa a sitting president. I have never seen such a time. Hata sisi wakati tulikuwa tumekosana na Uhuru Kenyatta, we know and we used to have limits of the things that we used to say, but watu wanaenda siku hizi na wamekaa hapo, father ati amekaa pale nyuma ama padri, na watu wanazungumza maneno ya kupotosha taifa letu. I want to call on our churches, vile mnatuambia kwamba you want to elevate the conversation. Do not allow your altars to be desecrated by politicians that are spreading hate speech, especially against other Kenyans.
In this podcast, I'm going to show you what is causing all this agitation. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming back to you in total humility. We have a very humble and urgent appeal as I talk to you. In December, we supported Charles here. He was admitted in Radiant. So there was a way that we supported so that he could be taken to at least a public facility. He was taken to Mama Lucy, but he died. So as we talk to you, for the last 1 month, the body is still detained there with no prospect of how it can get home. So they reached out and I spoke to the son who was requesting us, and I was requesting on behalf of the family, if we can be able to pull 200,000, we'll be able to support, cover the bill that's remaining at the hospital, and apart from it, buy the casket, the transport, so that at least they can just find a way of getting the body from Nairobi to Seme. It is possible. It can be done. Kindly, let's support so that the body that is detained there can be discharged, and they also find a way of giving him his last rites. We had supported him, but inabidi kindly tusaidie. Let's listen to the voice of the son.
Mimi naitwa Jaco Tieno Wanyango. Mimi ni firstborn, and today nilikuwa naomba, mimi nimekuja mbele yenu kama mnaweza kunisaidia as a firstborn of Charles. Charles is my father, so if can mimi mnaweza kutusaidia tumtoke tumpeleke home at least arrest, because amesha suffer kwa miaka mingi, amesha suffer kwa mgonjwa, tena amekufa, tena mchari amekwama. So mimi nilikuwa naomba tu kama mnaweza kutusaidia tumpeleke dad home, tumzike peacefully Kisumu, Seme. Maana yote ikuwe tu mzuri, roho yangu itulie, because mimi hata silali cause dad ashakonjeka kwa miaka mingi.
Now, I was telling you that what Aaron Cheriot is talking about there can make you think. When Aaron Cheriot is talking, you may even confuse that is the saint of the moment. While he's saying this way about NCIC, is bashing NCIC, 2 meters in front of the president, Farah Maalim was saying some unprintable words in front of the president. And if that is not enough, then just on Sunday, Dan Wanyama was speaking about politics of isolation.
Kenya hii iko na makabila zaidi ya 42. Lakini hatutakubali. Na mimi nataka kuomba Wakenya wote mahali walipo. We are not going to accept for one tribe to think that they have a birthright to be at State House. Wanapoingia State House, tunawapatia amani. Hata kama hawawezi, sisi tunawapatia amani, wanamaliza muhula wao.
This was sharing a podium with the president in Bungoma. And Webuye West Member of Parliament was making that statement. So if you look at all that, where really do NCIC needs to come and act? Is it Rigathi saying Ruto wrote speeches for some MPs? Or Dan Wanyama saying we are going to isolate some other regions? You can give us a good judgment. But I know what is, and I want to show you what is bringing all this. Remember, today on Monday, the Ruto's Kalenjin Axis, SACCO, emerged with blows against the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. Even Oscar Sudi was making some videos in Facebook and Twitter, and someone was making fun that when Sudi is tweeting in English, but when he's talking on videos, he's talking on Swahili. People saying those are two different people. Now, I want to tell you what is bringing all this anger. The 47 UDA MPs from Mount Kenya who voted to support Rigathi impeachment and endorsed Kindiki as the deputy president were asked on the weekend so that they can counter some two narratives in Mount Kenya. The first narrative that they were supposed to counter is Mutahi Kahiga spoke in Meru during the burial of a relative to Governor Kawira. And Mutahi Kahiga said about Kindiki being undermined in government.
Kwa sababu hata Rahimu najua mimi husema kama mbaya. Na kwa nini nilikuwa nasema mbaya kama mbaya ni mbaya? Mudhomi Njoki enda ambia deputy president awache uoga. Hajafika hata nyumbani. Ati atatolewa, kwani akitolewa Gachagua amekufa? He has never come home, tuambie ukweli. Sababu anaambiwa usiende mlimani, wewe kazi yako ni kuunganisha Kenya. How can you unite Kenya when you have not united your home? Umwere abe okemushie. Wega uma kanako. Na siku ile anakuja kwako utuambie tumulete. Lakini si ati anatishatishwa, ati anaingiaga Embu kidogo anarudi. Anaenda sijui, ameenda mara mbili, Embu 2 na 1 akaenda Kirinyaga na alikuwa anaenda hivi. Mwele atige guoya. Awache uoga. Hao watu ati walimwambia walimpatia kiti nini? Hata hao watu nawasomea Psalm 75. Wakati Mungu aliangalia akasema it's time for Gachagua tuondoka, aliweka Kithure Kindiki. Lakini hatukuwekewa deputy wakuwa anasukumwa hivi kama wheelbarrow, umwambie hapana, omia. Ama nyinyi mnasemaje?
This statement in its nature did not sit well, and there was a press briefing to be done so that the distance, or rather to rebuttal a narrative that Kindiki is being undermined in Ruto administration. But that was not done. Remember, this was really a statement on Saturday. So on Sunday, a WhatsApp group was activated. The UDA WhatsApp group was activated so that members can be asked, or rather can be pushed, were directed to actually make some reaction towards this, because this was really undermining the image of the administration. But the same weekend, Maina Njenga stormed an event, that was on Saturday, a prayer event in Nyeri that was organized and was being attended by Dorcas Rigathi Gachagua as the main pastor, or as the main guest. And for a better part of Saturday, the government was condemned on reviving the Mungiki militia so that they can slow down the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. Remember, that rally or that prayer event was headlined by Dorcas Rigathi. We analyzed about that unfortunate incident. And so a women caucus was also asked to issue a presser because Rigathi team were running and they are getting away with the narrative that Mungiki is being planted back in Mount Kenya. So there's a request so that the MPs come out, and actually the youths that were hanging around Maina Njenga should not be branded as Mungiki but as young people. But that also did not take off. Remember, even when President Uhuru Kenyatta spoke about Gen Z, it only took Adan Duale to respond to that while speaking somewhere in Garissa. No single member of parliament from Mount Kenya except Kimani Ichung'wah, who only speaks when he's standing next to the president, William Ruto, decided to give some rebuttal against the former president. But it doesn't talk about the former president actually in Mount Kenya. So that brought a problem. And today, I listened to a statement from Ngunjiri Wambugu, Kimani Ngunjiri, the former Bahati member of parliament. I want us to get here.
Mimi sikusikia. It is live everywhere. Former president, he has a say of this country. Ana maoni makubwa ya nchi hii. Na yeye vile alisema jinsi wapigania haki yao. Kila mtu siasa yote, hata ya pandi yote, hata current president manani, it is the constitutional fight for your right. Are they not Kenyans? Just said, mupigania haki yenu, hatuko nyuma yenu. Hata wewe my daughter, ngena, hata wewe ingia kwa grupu gani? Haku incite. That is democracy. Now somebody should talk how he think. What about now? What the government is doing? Inalia ikiona pandi moja ikijibu. Lakini I want to ask, hii siasa tukienda namna hiyo tunaelekea wapi? Kwa sababu hii tunaona saa hii wameformu Mungiki sector na inaenda ikiwa na escort ya polisi. Ninaona wakienda kuharibu maombi huko Nyeri. And I said before, Maina Njenga is actually fixed. Ndio kesi zake zote aliwachiliwa afanye kazi ya kupigana na Central. Kwa sababu aparalyze Gachagua, kwa sababu kila mtu ameshindwa kuingia milima inateresa. To me, that's what I know. Uhuru kusema jinsi piganieni haki yenu, na wale wamelete Mungiki na kupea escort ya polisi wakuji wa terrorize watu ya milima. Ni nani? Who is bad than who? Huko jinsi wanauawa. Huko Maina Njenga amekuwa engaged sasa na jinsi waendelee kuterrorize. And I'm saying this and I'm asking the president, why should the government target one region?
Now I like that, because that's what exactly it is. You cannot say that, you cannot come out and say that, you know, Uhuru did a mistake. What exactly was his mistake? You cannot see his mistake. But then all this anger is coming because the president is in a very tight corner. The only people that can defend him are the Rift Valley caucus, and not all of them. Actually, less than 10. I remember at the fallout of Ruto fallout, you'll see Johanna Ngeno talking, Oscar Sudi talking, Kimani Ngunjiri talking, Ndindi Nyoro calling a presser, Kimani Chung on the other side, Jen Kihara on the other side. And you could see everyone. But now this one, and that is what Nan is referring to. And that is what Aaron Cheriot is referring to. If you talk to ranks and file MPs, you will get talk to some few, you will understand. That is the connotation that Aaron Cheriot is making. So, this call to try to counter these narratives collapsed and people defied. Why? Because no one wants Ruto's endorsement for re-election in Mount Kenya in 2027. Unless he's going to go do that endorsement in terms of some money. But coming out now to be seen as defending William Ruto is a dangerous card that politicians are avoiding like a plague. Because the more you come out doing that, you actually carry the Ruto burden. So you'll understand that currently, even this January, MPs were giving bursary funds to different students. There have been flurry of activities in their constituencies during this process. But you will not hear them defending the national government. Everyone is just talking about what he has done in his or her constituency. And again, he can only wait about local politics. But you cannot come out and attack Rigathi, neither defend the Ruto administration, because you don't want an endorsement. Now, if you defend Ruto, it only means that Ruto is endorsing you. And that is a very good fodder for your opponent to take you home in 2027. The other issue that is happening here and is very dangerous is the isolation threat, that the divisive isolation threat by a clique of leaders around the president. This isolation narrative started with Mbadi. And I listened to Mbadi when Mbadi was talking during at the of Wetangula's mother's burial. He spoke about, I don't know, a road which was started where, and he spoke about something, if you remember that someone took money and built roads in one region. I don't know, SGR was only taken to remember, I don't know whether you can remember that, when Mbadi was talking about it. So that was the start of this isolation politics, and it's a card that has been here for some time. So the threat by Ruto handlers is very divisive, if you ask me. So even if you want to achieve, but then, you are also in UDA, an MP from Western. I want to imagine that Ndindi Nyoro was still part of Ruto's team attending those interdenominational prayer rallies. They are not services, prayer rallies. And then you hear someone standing there saying, we will isolate you. It's a blanket condemnation that people can't take. And then you realize that even the president is there and some other leaders who are there cannot denounce such utterances. The other issue is Ruto boycotting Mount Kenya. Now, I don't know, how would you want someone to go and defend you while yourself you don't go to that place? We mwenyewe unaogopa. That is the truth. Since October, when Ruto impeached Rigathi, he's never gone to Mount Kenya. He only went there once. That was in December. And he went with Uhuru Kenyatta in Embu. And he's off fire. He never went back. It's only Kindiki who has been going to Meru, to Embu. So that boycott is a clear signal that even himself, he's fearing a backlash. So if the president is fearing a backlash, who is this MP that will face the tide? You cannot face, because the president himself is leading on that backlash. The other issue is that new political party that Rigathi Gachagua is rooting for. You know, our politics is still domiciled on parties. And parties are vehicles of manipulation, vehicles of mobilization. Just the same way people mobilize, you want to mobilize people along the ethnic lines, along color, race, and so. Political party is a tool of mobilization. And you cannot underestimate, if UDA will not be popular, then there are quite a chunk of the voters that will be swayed by which political party you belong to. Which political party do you identify yourself with? So this is also a matter that is here, and that is why quite a number of leaders are also sitting in the fence. At the right time, when necessary moves are needed, people will make those moves. So thank you. That is my take. Let's meet in the next.